Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture series on semiconductor and semiconductor devices. I am Dr. Atasi Rai, Assistant Professor of Physics, Department of Humanities and Science, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. So today I will discuss on semiconductor device, that is LED, which is known as light emitting diode. So I will go through introduction, then construction of LED, then working and VI characteristics of LED. Now we will see what is LED. LED is nothing but light emitting diode. These are specially designed PN junction diodes. So here we will construct LED out of direct band gap semiconductors. In the last lecture I have discussed about direct and indirect band gap semiconductors, in which I have mentioned that in direct band gap semiconductors, when electron and holes will be recombining with each other, that time photons will be produced. That's why in LED, due to the recombination of electrons and holes, light will be produced. And using this LED, we can get any visible lights depending on the band gap of this material used. How? This we will discuss in details in the working section. Now, what will be the working principle of LED? Now, let us discuss about the working principle of LED. The working principle of LED is electroluminescence. Electroluminescence is nothing but this is the process in which a PN junction diode. Let us consider the working principle of LED. The working principle of LED is electroluminescence, which is the process in which a PN junction diode can emit light when appropriate voltage is applied. So, in general, this process is known as when we are applying some electric voltage and out of that we are getting some light. This process is known as electroluminescence and this is the basic principle of working of LED. Now, let's discuss about the construction of this LED. So, LED are specially designed forward biased PN junctions. So, in this LED, these are designed and constructed in such a way that most of the radiative recombination takes place from the side of the PN junction so that loss due to the reabsorption will be minimized. So, here we can see in a metal substrate in this diagram, look at this diagram. Here on a metal substrate, we are growing a N type of semiconductor and on this N layer, we are growing another P type of semiconductor. So, it's nothing but a PN junction. And again on the P layer, we are growing another metal substrate. So, these two metal substrate which are at the bottom and the top of this PN junction, those will be acting as the electrodes. So, this is all about how we will construct any LED. Now, this top layer which is the P layer, this will be constructed in such a way that the most of the surface will be not covered. That's how this light can go out of this layer. And this top layer will be also made as transparent so that the radiation escaping through this top layer will be most. So, to get the most of the light, we will make this top layer as transparent. And again, we will make this bottom layer and again to the bottom layer, we will add another anti-reflection layer to increase the efficiency of this LED. Although the internal quantum efficiency of most LED is greater than 100%, sometimes the internal efficiency will be decreasing due to this total internal reflection. So, what is total internal reflection? So, when light is going from one medium which is denser medium to a rarer medium and the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle. So, let's consider I am considering two layers. So this one is medium 1 and this is medium 2. And medium 1 is a denser medium. This is a denser medium and this is a rarer medium. And when light is going from the denser medium to rarer medium and this angle of incidence is greater than critical angle, that time instead of this light will refracted to the second medium, it will come back to the original medium or it will come back to the first medium. So here instead of refraction, reflection will be taking place. So this process is known as total internal reflection. So due to total internal reflection, this light might be coming inside the LED without coming out. That's why we will make the surface of this LED in hemispherical shape to prevent this total internal reflection. So whenever we are making the surface of this LED in a hemispherical shape, so that time we can reduce this total internal reflection and we can get maximum radiation out of this LED. So we can take for example as gallium phosphide. If I am using gallium phosphide to construct some LED, that time the critical angle for this gallium phosphide is 70 degree. So if the rays will be falling on the surface at some angle greater than this 17 degree, that time total internal reflection will be taking place and the light might come back to the medium. That's why we are making this surface of this LED in hemispherical shape. Let's go to the working, how this LED will work. So as I told previously, this LED will be working in forward bias condition. So this is nothing but a PN junction. So here this P-type semiconductor will be connected to the positive terminal of the battery and N-type semiconductor will be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So this is the forward biased PN junction. So what happens in this forward bias condition? So here let's consider this diagram. We can see in details how this electron hole will be recombined and photons will be produced. So when we are giving some applied voltage to this PN junction diode and as it is connected in forward bias, that time when this applied voltage is greater than the barrier potential of this particular PN junction, that time this charge carriers from P type, it will go to the N type and from N type this charge carriers will come to the P type and there this recombination process will take place. So in this diagram, this orange color charge carriers represents the holes and this blue color charge carriers represents the electrons. So as I told, when this applied voltage is greater than the barrier potential, these holes from P side will enter to the N side. So here we can see this electron and holes will be recombined with each other. So when these electrons and holes will be recombining with each other, that time photons will be produced. So in direct band gap semiconductor, the process where this electron hole recombination occurs, it will result in the production of photons. That's why photons of energy h nu will be emitted. And same process happens when these electrons from N type will enter to the P type through the junction. And there also the same process will take place. That means the electron hole pair will be recombined and the photons of energy h nu will be produced. And this is the band gap diagram of this PN junction. That means the forward biased PN junction, which is nothing but the LED. So here we can see this is our conduction band and this is the valence band and here this is the Fermi energy level. The dotted line represents the Fermi energy level. And when these electrons holes will be recombining at the junction, that time this light will be produced from this LED. So now let us consider Eg is the band gap of the semiconductor we are using to construct a particular LED. So if Eg is the band gap, when this electron hole will be recombined and energy will be produced, that time this energy gap or band gap will be equal to that energy h nu. H nu is nothing but hc by lambda. Nu is equal to, because nu is equal to c by lambda. Nu is the frequency of emitted light and lambda is the wavelength of this emitted light and c is the speed of light in vacuum. So now from this relation I can say that the emission wavelength of this particular LED is given by lambda is equal to Sc by Eg. So using this formula, if I am using any particular semiconductors and I know the energy gap of that particular semiconductor, I can calculate the wavelength radiated from that LED. And if also the vice versa case, if the wavelength of this given LED is known, I can find out the energy gap of that LED and I can say that out of this energy gap, which semiconductors we can use to get that particular color or particular wavelength of LED. So in this table, there is some representation of semiconductors. So in this table, we have represented few semiconductors and using those semiconductors, which color of light will be generated. So as I told, from using this formula lambda is equal to Sc by Eg, we can find out the wavelength radiated. So you can see, you can just search this energy gap of these particular semiconductors and putting the value of the energy gap, you can find out this wavelength of those particular LEDs constructed using these semiconductors. Now we will see the IV characteristics of this LED. IV characteristics is nothing but the variation of current with the voltage. So this is the circuit diagram of this to find the IV characteristics of light emitting diode. Here with an external voltage, we are connecting a light emitting diode in forward bias. So here one milliammeter is connected to find out the current flowing through the circuit, and we are connecting this circuit with an voltmeter to find out the voltage through this LED. So this is the model graph. We can see the model graph. Initially, when we are increasing the voltage, the current remains 0. So at this portion, the current is 0 when we are increasing the voltage. But after a particular voltage, the current will rapidly increase with the increase of voltage. So that particular voltage is known as knee voltage. Knee voltage. So, because what happens, as we have discussed in case of PN junction, when the applied voltage is greater than the varied potential, let us discuss the IV characteristics of LED. This is nothing but the variation of voltage and current. So here we see how this current will vary with applied voltage. So this is the circuit diagram. Here we have connected the LED with an external voltage. As LED will be connected in forward bias condition, we have connected the P side to the positive terminal of the battery and we have connected the N side to the negative terminal of the battery. And here we can measure the voltage through this voltmeter and measure the current through the ammeter. So let's see the graph. Here from this graph it is clear that initially when we are increasing the voltage, that time current is 0. But after a particular voltage, the current starts increasing rapidly when we are changing the voltage. That particular voltage after which the LED will start conducting or start glowing is known as knee voltage. Because when we have discussed about the PN junction, there I mentioned that, so when the applied voltage is greater than the barrier potential, then only this PN junction will conduct. That's why this applied voltage must be greater than a particular amount of voltage in order to flow some current through this LED. That's why we need this knee voltage. That means the voltage of this applied potential should be greater than this knee voltage, so that this LED will start conducting. So in this lecture, I have discussed about the construction of LED. Construction. So LEDs will be constructed out of direct bandgap semiconductor, and these are specially designed forward biased PN junction, and in the working we have discussed that how this electron hole will be recombined, producing photons. And then after we have discussed the IV characteristics, where we have shown the variation of the current with the voltage. Initially, as we will increase the voltage, the current will be 0, and after the knee voltage, the current will increase with the increase in voltage. So this particular voltage is known as the knee voltage. So this is all about the construction, working and VI characteristics of LED. Thank you.